Thank you so. A question about mothers from a different dimension. You're a mother of 2 daughters, and I think in the context of the young women that we've seen here this evening, someone from the audience asks, what are your hopes for your daughters as they navigate some of the issues that the young women tonight have spoken about?
Tina Fey, do you guys like her? I wish I could remember. She wrote a really good thing about hopes for her daughter. Check it out online. It was pretty hilarious. One of the things that that I took from it was she was saying, let them not be actors, O Lord, but let them find something that is inspiring and uplifting that allows them to make their own hours and to not to denigrate actors at all, but I think the point is, and she said it's so much better, she's a lot funnier, certainly, but the point is that finding that balance between lives of struggle, that require you to live off too little for a long time, unless you're really lucky. Something between that and a life that is bereft of any real, service and is just about kind of, making money. Maybe something in between that allows them to have some creative pursuits, some freedom, some actualization, empowerment, allows them to use their voice. Of course, want some love, connection, and competence. But the hardest thing, I think, is to allow our children to be precisely who they are, regardless of what we want for them. And that is something that I think we were gifted in having, a mother who I know she would be tremendously proud of her son for being the President of the United States, but she would have cared first and foremost about whether he was happy, not about whether he was accomplished, and so I think that I'm going to endeavor to give that gift to my children. It's hard sometimes, though. Brush your hair. Why are you sitting like that? Yeah.
So, fittingly enough, the last question tonight comes from the young women who've participated in this project. And their question for you, Maya, is you have a PhD, you're an educator, you're an author, you're a mother. We're embarking on our futures, and how can we achieve it all too? What advice do you have for us?
Thank you. You overstate my achievements, but I will say that I'm pretty lucky. I really am. I also see that not everybody, even women my age, who are, women in their 40s, not everyone has my good fortune in having so much choice. I encourage a lot of the, part of the problem is I think that women are so good at surviving that they sometimes just take a very defensive stance. It's all about what's coming at them and how they're going to bend with grace and how they're going to, sort of stay sturdy and, okay, so they don't have time to exercise or, to bathe. But point is they're surviving. And I find that the men in my life sometimes are very good at proactively thinking about the life that they want and then going forward and doing whatever is necessary to get that life, no matter what. And they don't see that as being selfish. They see it as, well, that's what you do. That's being practical. That's having some ambition. I see a guy here, he's like, yeah. Duh. Yeah. But I think women often think of themselves as selfish if they do that. And I think that's something that we certainly have to overcome. And I hope young women are beginning to do that more and more. And, you know, I really think of, again, my mom's story is such a good example. I mean, she was not content to work with just the script that she had been handed. You know, she flipped the script and turned it all upside down and all around and took it here and took it there. And I think that we should feel, you know, fairly brave. And once we know, we have to, I think about where it is that we come from and what it is that we've inherited. But then I think it's okay to forge new paths. When I wrote this book, I was not at all confident that I would get it published. I had always wanted to write a children's book, but I thought, well, you had to come with your own illustrations. And that was not something I was ever going to be able to do. And I hadn't found anyone who, and so I mentioned that because it's sort of like, wow, when I was campaigning in 2007, I came across all these people, and my husband was working in new media specifically, and there were all of these projects that were being put up on the internet and included like 80-year-old a cappella groups in Ohio, you know, singing about their country and what it is that they were going to do together. And it included children, you know, with incredible paintings, muralized on a 4-foot wall, or, you know, teenagers who were sort of sharing their stories and going, you know, one-legged woman going door to door, you know. These are the kinds of things, because it was a time of, in this country, of, you know, sort of great possibility. There was some new stuff coming round the bend, and people started feeling, at least the people around me and the people I witnessed, were feeling empowered about their ability to impact their communities. And it really was a mental thing. It was just a mental thing, nothing more. They understood their own power just like Suhaila did. Intellectually and emotionally, long before they were ever attempting to exercise that power. And so that's definitely something I want you to remember and to feel and embody and practice, is to sort of understand your own power. And it was once I did that, I was like, oh, you know what? If my brother can, you know, take the risk of the ultimate rejection of, you know, losing in this presidential race, then maybe I can risk the rejection of not getting this book published. But let's see, you know, let's see. And it all, I'm happy to say, worked out in the end. You know, it's not a book that everyone will love, but I think it is a book that will endure. And I think that certainly I will have the great opportunity to continue to be both an educator and a writer. And I can begin perhaps now to think of myself in those new ways. And naming oneself is so vital. So name yourself in whatever way that you can begin to imagine and envision, and then proactively do what is necessary to make that label totally appropriate and fitting.
So I want to say a huge thank you again to Maya for taking the time to share your experiences. We so admire your strength and your passion and your unwavering commitment to dissolving boundaries between women and men around the world. Thank you so much. I want to let you know that the book that Maya read from this evening, Ladder to the Moon, will be available, and she and Gigi will be signing that in the foyer outside in a few moments. So I know that all of us this evening have been inspired by the powerful voices that we've heard and by the energy and the potential for transformation that is unleashed when we link together the voices of women from all over the world. So thank you again to the incredible young women from the project and the voices that you've shared with us tonight. Thank you. Please, when you go home, remember to visit the exhibition online at imow.org. Tell your friends. I want to ask you, before you leave tonight, there are program evaluation cards on your chairs that are very important to us at the museum and very important to our funders. So please take the time to complete those. Thank you, all of you, for being here this evening. Please join us in the lobby for dessert and further conversation. Thank you so much.